Hey everyone, thank y'all for joining us. Got Coach here. I think we'll just start off. Coach, I know you said you were going to celebrate that last win. So what did you do to celebrate? And then what does this week look like?
Um, we didn't do much of celebration. It was a long flight back, and I think we got back at like 4 a.m. So it was a lot of sleep, and I gave the players Sunday and Monday off. Then we were back at it yesterday. So it's a good win. Just gotta keep going out, handling business.
How's practice look so far this week?
Yesterday was a good day. It was just base down, install. We had a walkthrough for a little bit, and then we'll have first official practice today.
Very good. We'll open it for questions. Just win bets. Go ahead with your question.
Great. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Coach, after a difficult 1-3 start of the season, you've won two straight games, including the overtime thriller last week that you just mentioned. What has been the biggest shift in the locker room culture during the surge back into contention?
I think it's just the players holding each other to a certain standard. Um, we raised our standard from a practice standpoint, made practice harder, and kind of weeded out the people that really wanted to be here and were all in and practicing through injuries. That's the tough part about this league, but dealing with injuries and just not having enough numbers. But I think us changing our standard at practice at the beginning of the week, and then guys holding each other accountable. Coaches can only say so much. It's got to be player led at some point, and I think the players have done a really good job of that.
This is your first look at Ted Ginn's Junior's Aviators. Given that they are a first-year franchise with the NFL heavy coaching staff, does the lack of historical film make them a more dangerous opponent at this stage of the season?
No, I mean you're going off the film that they've shown through the first 7 weeks. So no, I mean they're a good team. Listen, anybody in this league can beat anybody on any given weekend. It's you coming out, bringing your own juice, being ready to play, and attention to detail, and that's the biggest thing. We got to worry about us, not about the opponent. Just do what we're supposed to, and then we'll be in a good spot to win.
I'll finish with this last question here, Coach. The
Yep.
Stallions have a 1-2 record at home this season compared to a 2-2 on the road. How important is the Birmingham crowd this Sunday in helping you get back to 500 since the first time since week one?
Yeah, it's big. I mean, anytime you play at home, you want as many fans there as possible. The first two home games didn't work out in our favor, but we made a trade, and we've been a different team since then. So we definitely want Birmingham and the entire state, anybody that hasn't been before, to come out for a game, and then the people that keep coming out to keep attending. And but crowd's always a big key for success at home, and it rattles the opponent. So hopefully we can get as many people as possible.
Coach, good luck to you this Sunday, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, appreciate it.
James, go ahead with your question.
Hey, Coach. Appreciate you taking the time to kind of bounce off of that, talking about the Aviators. You've been a team that had your backs up against the wall the last couple weeks. The Aviators have their backs up against the wall right now. You know they're desperate for a win. What are you expecting out of this team this weekend?
Out of them or us?
Out of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to play the same they've been playing. I mean, they're a tough team. They do a really good job of running the football, time of possession, so it limits the amount of plays the other offense, is allowed and on the field. And I mean, the biggest thing is we can't turn the ball over, and when we have possessions, we got to be successful with them.
Chad, go ahead with your question.
Coach, you touched on it, but in this league, it's clear in the UFL that anyone can win. There's talent across the board. How have you been able to keep this team focused no matter the opponent?
I think it's just the standard. It's of course starts with me being the head coach, but holding everybody to a certain standard. Again, a couple weeks ago, we made a big change from a sense of, listen, if you either buy in and you're all in with the process and the standard and expectations, or if you're not, it sucks. It's nothing personal, but we're just going to move on and find people that want to be here. And sometimes those are tough discussions and decisions that have to be made, and fans and everybody else might not like it. But listen, I think we have the team that we wanted, and guys are bought in and focused, and they understand, everything we want to achieve is right here in front of us. So that's all you can ask for, is an opportunity to go make the playoffs and then make a run at it. So we got to just keep going out, handling business the way we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, and put ourselves in a better position to be successful.
Steve, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, AJ, I just wonder if you could talk a little bit about defensively. Particularly the last 2 weeks have really come up with timely plays. Maybe been a little bit in in Orlando, but with the turnovers, and then last week having the sack, key sacks and just different things. Just kind of, if you could speak a little bit about their play last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think that we've gotten much better. Even when you think back the entire season, they've played well. We just have made mistakes at the wrong time. You had 2 10-point leads in the St. Louis game. Even before that, the Houston game, we had them to 3 4th downs, I believe, on like the last drive. And we just had stupid penalties or mistakes that cost us. So, but listen, like I said, after the game the other night, I understand everybody wants quick success, and they want the same results that, Birmingham. This is an entire new team, completely different staff. Like, it takes time to gel as a group. When you only have 28 days to build a chemistry and a roster and a team, and it's a whole new team, like, that's hard to do. And you look at the teams that are having success this year, for at least the first half, are all teams that have at least had a lot of their roster with them before. Orlando has had a bunch of guys that have played for Beck. DC has pretty much their same roster back. St. Louis still has a bunch of guys back that have been on that roster, right? Like, so a lot of those guys know how to play with each other. They know what each other's strengths and weaknesses are. Like, we were completely new for the most part. It wasn't many returning Stallion players to begin with. So it takes time. And for a defense and an offense, like, you have to understand what your coaches want and what they're looking for. And that might seem great, during camp, but when you get in game-like situations, in game situations, like, that takes time to understand, okay, I know my OC's probably thinking this on the call sheet because we went over it. Or, hey, I know if my D coordinator said, hey, we're playing 2-trap over here, whatever the call is, like, I understand he wants me to show this and then get to my spot after doing that. So all those things take time. And that's why, I feel great about our team. Like, we are starting to gel as a whole, coaching staff and players. And you can see it on the field. And I think we're playing really good ball right now.
James, go with your question.
Coach, the offensive line has been improving over these past few games as well. I really feel like the protection has looked stronger than it did to begin the season. What have you seen out of that unit over the last couple games?
Yeah, we've found a good combination. We've had some tough injuries the last couple weeks, so that part sucks, especially when you're playing so well and then all of a sudden, you lose Armani out at left tackle, and then we got some other just nicked up players on the front, so it's tough. But listen, O-line's the same way. I kind of compare it to Alabama struggles in their O-line the last couple of years, and especially last year. And when I watch a team rotate 6 to 7 guys on an O-line, that's hard to be on the same page at all times because everybody communicates differently, right? Everybody plays differently. So when you have a continuity between those players and a rapport that they can communicate without even saying anything, and it's just hand pointing, and it might be a hand signal or whatever, like what each other in that spot, like that's the biggest brotherhood on a football team that you can possibly have, other than the weird special teams and their deal. So I think when you find a combo in those 5 guys up front that is gelling together and working, really well, like that's key for a team success. So we've been playing great up front. I'd like to see us run the ball a little bit better to begin, like especially on base downs, but we're playing well right now. So hopefully we just keep it up.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Any other questions for Coach? Okay, well, Coach, we will let you get on to practice, and DTR is going to be joining us here in a minute.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
What's
Thanks
going
for
on?
joining us. So we're going to jump in with some questions, but just a little bit, just to start us, what does this week look like, and how did you celebrate the win last week?
Yeah, we definitely enjoyed the plane ride back and the bus ride home back to HQ. Other than that, though, got some good rest. Was able to recover, get off my feet a little bit, and then I got back to work on whatever it was Sunday. Got in the building with Siski and AJ, and got working on this game plan for this week. It's gonna be a good game. They got a good team. Their record doesn't really reflect the talent and scheme and how well they're playing, especially defensively. We know offensively they want to, kind of control the game possession-wise and clock-wise. So for us, being very detailed on early downs, and obviously especially on third downs, be able to make sure we're moving the sticks, staying on schedule, so we can also maintain possession of the ball too, and kind of, play that chess match that way. So.
Very good. Well, we'll open up. Chad, go ahead with your question.
Hey, Dorian. Hey, I just want to ask you about Jaden Mickens. You're able to get him the ball a lot last game in that second half. In your opinion, just what makes him tough to defend?
Yeah, it's a super easy question. We talk about it literally every day. Me and Mick, he's a pro, true vet. You could tell he's been around a lot of great quarterbacks and receivers. He often mentions his time with Brady, with the Bucks and winning a Super Bowl over there. So you can tell he's seen a lot of ball. He's always in the right spot. He sees coverages really well. He knows to get his depth, the timing of things. He's really like another quarterback in the slot. So that right there makes it a lot easier. I know exactly where he's going to be out of breaks, and he's sure-handed too. So for every target, there's 90% of the time it's going to be a catch. So.
Very good. Paul, go ahead with your question.
Hi, Dorian. Good to see you, my friend. And just had 2 quick questions for you. After the walk-off thriller last week, the Stallions have kept their postseason alive at 3-4. How much of the win or go home mentality has already set in the locker room for the only 3 games left?
Yeah, I think that kind of set in when I first got over here, and a part of the reason why I'm over here. So, I came in this thing wanting to win. I didn't just come in here wanting to, play in the UFL. I wanted to win some games and play some good football. So that was going to be the standard regardless when I got here. If it hadn't already been set, which it was. So, like I said, this team and the staff and what they're preaching, I think we're on a good track.
And finally, let's talk about Sunday's matchup with the Aviators. The Aviators, of course, being a unique defensive front that prides itself on pressure. And given your mobility, how much of the game plan this week is focused on extending plays versus getting the ball out quickly to your playmakers?
Yeah, no, I've never been in a quarterback room or an offense where they, coach the quarterback to just run, especially on pass plays, right? So it's just a part of my game. It's kind of like a cherry on top for our coaching staff to have as a part of this offense. But I'm not looking to run. We're not looking to call quarterback power and read zone the whole game. Those things will come as we get in the right spots at receiver. We block up front. I have my eyes in the right spot and let my feet talk to me. So,
Dorian, good luck to you this weekend, and go Stallions.
Thank you.
James, go ahead with your question.
Hey, Dorian, appreciate the time to kind of bounce off of that. The Aviators defense, this is an Aviators team. They've got their backs up against the wall. Obviously, they're desperate for a win, kind of similar to what you guys have been in the last couple of weeks. What are you expecting out of this defense and Columbus as a team this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the standings, the UFL as a whole, right now in the season, I think that's kind of the mindset and vibe, or at least it should be, for everybody in this league. It feels like everybody's kind of one game away from, whatever goal they're trying to obtain. So that's going to be our mentality the rest of the way. We're win or go home mentality for these next 3 games, and then whatever happens after that, we're trying to go get our ultimate goal, which is to win the championship. So, we're taking it one game at a time. We're facing, like I said, a really good team that their record doesn't really reflect that. So, we're not going to get lulled to sleep by, what is being said about them or what they have going on internally. We're just going to go out there and play our game and focus on what we can control. So.
And then to follow up on that really quick, you're playing with a new offensive line here in Birmingham. They've played some pretty good football the last couple of weeks, even with some of the injuries that the coach was talking about. What's been your assessment of how they played since you've come over?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. I would have thought I would have had to scramble and use my legs a little more than I have already. And that's really a credit to, again, the scheme, those guys doing their job week in and week out, day in and day out at practice. And then again, me listening to, my feet, my eyes, and the coaching points throughout the week. So I think those guys are obviously doing a great job. They all gel well together and have been, I assume, through camp and all that stuff. So I have seen no hiccups once I've gotten here. And that's obviously a great thing for a quarterback. So.
Very good. Dorian, I'll just ask you one last question before we leave. How important has it been to have those fans rally around you? I mean, I don't know if you heard them chanting your name, but how important is that, especially when we're at home?
Yeah, I mean, it's super special. I've been blessed enough to have that happen a few times in my career at various places. So it's always special every time it happens. That's, why I play the game. I like to call myself a show artist. I'm out there trying to be an entertainer, as well as play some good damn football and win some games. So I'm glad the fans are enjoying it. We're trying to get more and more with attendance. So as long as we keep playing good on offense, I'm sure that'll keep going up. And that's something I'm looking forward to. So.
Very good. Okay, well, we'll see you in Birmingham on Sunday.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.